What am I, chopped liver?
We'll record it. We'll see who gets more. Are they up now?
Welcome, and thank you for that incredible hearty round of applause. I can only give it up to actually follow my wife's story. To have you know why you're clapping.
Do you even know why you're clapping?
This is our 4th year at Governor's Academy, and I really think I'm deluded. I think I'm a senior now. Somehow I go to school here, and when I walk around, I say hi to everybody, and I'm buying the Governor's swag now. I wear it. But it's been 4 years. This is the 9th year of having Lama Marut up for the summer retreat.
You guys don't have to hang there.
He likes to be with you.
Backstage.
9 years ago, we started it at a smaller place down in Cape Ann, and we lit a fire 9 years ago. Lama Marut came, and the fire kind of started to grow, and what came of it was your host tonight is the Wisdom's Heart Center, although the summer retreat starts tomorrow, they host tonight. And what came out of it was this thriving, amazing group of people and practitioners who have been bringing the teachings and then becoming teachers and spreading it themselves. And then it's kind of moving its way up the North Shore and into Newburyport, where I know Lindsay's been teaching. And it's getting bigger and better every year. So we're incredibly, thankful for Wisdom's Heart for sponsoring tonight. So if you don't know who they are, they have a table out in the back. And please get some information. Feel free to make a donation to support them. And if you're interested in teachings beyond the summer retreat next week and beyond that, check them out. And one other thing, let's all do a little ritual first together. Let's get our cell phones out and turn them off. I don't want to have to stare my teacher down in the eye tomorrow if I forget to ask you to do it. And somebody's, I'm sure it's really cute and awesome ringtone, and it's just yours. It goes off in the middle of the talk. So let's do that so that we can all catch the talk. And we're just really excited that you're here. We're thrilled that Lama Marut has come back again. I think it's through the support and power of all of you coming and showing up and supporting both the center and the summer retreat, which starts tomorrow, by the way, and will go through Sunday. In our 9th year of putting people in a residential retreat here at Governor's for 9 days. And to tell you a little bit more about that is my wife, Lindsay Krause, who started the summer retreat, which bought Lama Marut, which helped start Wisdom's Heart, which is now what we're experiencing now, and it's getting bigger and bigger. So, Lindsay Krause.
Thank you.
Usually I'm doing some kind of a bio of Lama Marut, but these days, bios are everywhere. You can read all about him online. So I would just like to say one thing about him. Lama Marut is one of those teachers that only comes along once, maybe if you're lucky twice in a lifetime. And he's a life-changing teacher. When he teaches, something happens. We are so grateful, as he doesn't live in this country anymore. He started to teach us, and we got Wisdom's Heart, and he left the country, you know? So we got to get him back. So he's here for the entire week, and this is the kickoff of this public talk. I wanted to also say he's going to be talking, there's a new surprise talk on the 19th. Can you read the time? Because I've got my glasses on. From 8 to 9:30, called How Karma Works. How does karma work really? Question mark. At the UU Church in Gloucester. And
There's a subheader under it. I get to do air quotes.
Okay.
How does karma work really? And then,
what goes around comes around.
but does
Does
karma
really work the way we think it does?
It's like vaudeville.
Tune in at the UU Church on Monday, August 19th from 8 to 9:30 p.m.
And another one of our beautiful teachers at the summer retreat, Cindy Lee, is going to be teaching at Wisdom's Heart on August 20th, 7 to 9:30, and her title is Song of the Open Road. Using Joseph Campbell's hero's journey as a launching point and text, poetry, and stories from world religion as reference points, we will examine the heroine and hero's mythical quest for fulfillment as a way to more deeply embrace and embody and release our own path. These are going to be two exceptional talks. So I hope you can all join them. Have I said everything? I think so. Monday and Tuesday. Monday the 19th and Tuesday the 20th.
Roll right out.
Oh,
of summer.
one more thing. Lama Marut will stay after the talk on stage, and his books are for sale. If you want to have him sign them, he would love to do that. All right, with no further ado, Lama Marut.
Dog and pony show here. Thank you. Nice to be with you. Nice to be back in Massachusetts. It's been a year. How y'all doing? Improving? Getting happier? That's what the Dalai Lama always says. It's been 1 year since I've been here. I feel a little happier. You feel happier too? So thank you to Wisdom's Heart for organizing this talk tonight. What I thought I'd do is maybe talk for an hour, maybe hour and 10 minutes or something like that, and then open it up to questions. So if you have questions, please hold them until the end. And sometimes people have like lots of questions, so one per person question. But we'll have time to do that at the end. I gave this talk the title, Living La Vida Sana. Is that how you pronounce it in Spanish, Sana or Sana? Anybody know? Sana, is it? Living La Vida Sana, but it means Sana, you know? Sane. What's that in opposition to? Did anyone get it? Living La Vida Loca, right? And so I thought I'd talk tonight a little bit about the crazy life that we're leading in the modern world, and offer a few suggestions on how to introduce a little more sanity into our ordinary lives. I was thinking about the famous beginning lines of a Charles Dickens novel whose name I can't remember. It was the best of times and the worst of times. Who said that? Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times and the worst of times. It is the best of times in a lot of ways. We're living in an age of miracles and wonders, you know, and they just keep coming. Anybody who doesn't believe that the World Wide Web is not a miracle is miracle proof. I mean, it's just astounding. You can find out anything almost instantaneously, and now we have these little gadgets that we can carry around, so we don't even have to be tied to our computers. And it's just getting kind of like more and more like that. I've been fascinated to read about Google Glass. You know, Google Glass, that's the next thing, right? Where you just put your glasses on and you have instant, you know, kind of access to the World Wide Web. And, you know, can find out where Starbucks is, like, really quick. And, you know, I don't know, we'll see, but, you know, people laugh at it now and go, you know, that's goofy, or, you know, that would drive me crazy or whatever. But, you know, it's very possible that if the summer retreat keeps going and, you know, summer retreat 14 in 5 years from now, we'll all be sitting there, you know, looking at each other through our goggles, you know. And, yeah. So, you know, and the technology, the miracles of technology is just one aspect of it, of course. I mean, we are, all of us, regardless of our, you know, relative income level, are living lives of affluence unprecedented, in world history, really. So I see that there are a few people here that are at least as old as I am. So we have to pass along the, you know, like, the history, oral history, it didn't used to be this way, you know? People, not everyone just automatically had things like, you know, even like refrigerators, and let alone cars and television. I remember when my father brought the first television into the house. You know, it's 4 or 5 years old, and it was like, you know, this big, and it was black and white, and there was like 3 channels on, and then they all went off at, you know, what, midnight or something, and then that Indian came on. You stare at the Indian all night. And, you know, and that's a lifetime. You know, I'm not ancient. That was in my lifetime. The average income, I think, accounting for inflation has doubled in the last 5-6 decades. You know, among Americans, among ordinary Americans. So now the middle classes, the working classes have access to all the stuff that used to be just the privilege, you know, just for the privileged people. All the experiences, all the holidays, all the credit cards, of course, are new, relatively, also within our lifetime, but that's all kind of come together, right? It makes it possible for us to buy pretty much anything we want anytime. And that's the case for everyone, not just, you know, wealthy people. I remember my first airplane ride. It was, you know, I was 16 or something like that, 15, I think. And, you know, when you went on an airplane ride back in the 1960s, you know, it was a big deal. You got dressed up and stuff, you know. It was a formal event. And, you know, and the stewardess would come, you know, like you were at a cocktail lounge or something like that. You know, it was really quite different. Now it's just ordinary, right? Now it's just ordinary, back and forth. Those are the best of times. With the rise in affluence, and of course now the large parts of the other world are either caught up or a kind of ahead, you know. The standard of living in some parts of Europe and in some parts of Asia, you know, has now sort of exceeded the standard of living that we're used to here. I spend a lot of time in Singapore, teaching in Singapore, and they're living the good life there, boy. Melbourne in Australia, you know, foodie culture, wine, you know, people on holidays all the time. You know, it's spread worldwide now. You know, of course, they're not everywhere, right? You know, let's not be naive about the fact that there are still 3 billion people or something like that who are living below the, you know, the poverty line. But, you know, the affluence that we have been accustomed to in this country for several decades is now spreading everywhere, gradually. With that affluence has come some very interesting concomitants, interesting things that go with affluence. Negative things. So I thought tonight we'd talk about them in terms of like mental diseases. So one mental disease I want to talk about is this kind of like tendency to just be manic all the time. Manic. And you know, oftentimes manic goes together with another word. What is that? Depressive. Manic depressive. And so we have, all of us, you know, who are living in these times, have some version or another, at least sometimes, of both of those ailments. Manic, busy all the time, stressed out and busy all the time, and then depressed. And I think both of these, they can both be related to the rise of affluence to some degree. But even more important, they can be related to another kind of mental illness that we all share. That also is directly, I think, connectable to affluence, and that's narcissism. Everyone know what narcissism means? I'll give you a very easy word for it: selfishness. Egotism, just thinking about ourselves all the time, and in a way that's been made possible because we all got cashed up. We all got cashed up, and then we had the time, the leisure to actually, you know, do something other than think about how to make a living all the time. Or think about like, how we're going to feed our families and stuff like that. We got cashed up. So I don't know if you know this article, this very famous article that was written sometime in the early 1970s, I believe, by Tom Wolfe, who's the author of The Right Stuff and other books. Y'all know who he is? Tom Wolfe, I think. And he wrote a very, very influential article. I think it was published in the New York Times Magazine. And I forget the exact name of the title, but the phrase was the important thing. He declared the 1970s as the me era, the me decade. And in that article, he reviews what I just said in a way that ordinary people, working class, middle class people, had now risen in this wave of affluence to have the ability to have the experiences to consume the consumer goods, to buy the consumer goods that only rich people used to have. And with that rise of affluence comes another privilege of the rich, which is to think about themselves all the time. And now that's become, so he declared it as a decade, the me decade, 1970s. And then at the end of the 1970s, 1979, a social scientist by the name of Christopher Lasch published another kind of influential sort of piece that attempted to kind of get the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times, capture the spirit of the times. He called it the culture of narcissism. And so between the two of them, Tom Wolfe in a more popular way and then in a more academic way, Christopher Lasch, both put their finger on the same phenomenon, that we had moved into an era fueled by affluence, where ordinary people like ourselves could now have the privilege of just thinking about ourselves all the time, and what we want and what we need and what new product we want to buy and so forth. And so, that was the 1970s, 1979. I suggest to you that me decade has stretched over, 5 decades now, 4 decades? And only gotten worse, only been exacerbated. And shows no sign of dying out. We are consumed with ourselves and our own wants and needs, and we are encouraged to do this, by the culture and by the economy. The whole economy of consumerism, of consumer capitalism, is based on what about me? Or from the advertiser's point of view, what about you? Don't you deserve a new car? Do a little something nice for yourself. Take a little me time. Come to Jamaica. Pamper yourself. Over and over and over again we hear this. This is how the economy is running, actually. The economy is running on greed, on perpetuating greed all the time. And inventing new needs all the time, too, of course, right? As soon as we get like one need, so-called need covered, transportation, well then, of course, there's endless like versions of it. Oh, you have that car that doesn't have a camera that shows you where you're backing up to. You actually have to go like this when you're driving. Oh, you deserve better than that. So, but in addition to just the basics, transportation, housing, clothes, and so forth, all of which have their own version, of this constant dissatisfaction. I need a bigger house. I need more clothes. I need, this kind of consumer good. In addition to that, then we have all this other stuff we didn't even know we wanted. We didn't, let alone needed. I spend a lot of time on airplanes, and one of my favorite occupations is to go and sit down on the chair, having gotten onto the plane from the airport, which are all now shopping malls, You get off we just got off in LaGuardia. It was astounding that it was like one of the last airports left in America that's not a full-on shopping mall, and they're probably, renovating. Some of them are just amazing. London Heathrow is just a big department store. The whole place is So anyway, you get off, you go to the airport, and on the way to the airport, you're shopping probably, stopping at Starbucks and, like that. And then you get to the airport and you shop. And then you get onto the plane, and then the first thing you see in front of you is Sky Mall. Y'all know what Sky Mall is, right? And Sky Mall is the most incredible thing. You look through this and I didn't know they had that. I didn't know they invented that. And it's like, well, I think I need that. I think I need that iPod that you can take into the shower with you. That case, that waterproof case, because, I may need to listen to the iPod in the shower. I hadn't thought of it until just then, but, gosh, maybe I could do that, like that. Just invented needs. What's that other store? Cindy, what's that store that we see in the airports? Huh? Say it again? Sharper Image. No. It's a classier. Huh? Brookstone. You ever been to Brookstone? Same thing. It's like, audio speakers that are this big. Just can't quite believe that that they have this stuff, and then immediately it's like, whoa, that's cool. I want that. Have you ever seen the billboards for the products, iPads and iPods? They don't even have to say anything. They don't say buy iPad. They just show you the iPad. And it's just like, wow. No words at all anymore. Just right to the heart, right to the greed. No bypassing. Directly to the greed. So we've now, we've moved from the me decade and the culture of narcissism that described the me decade into the whole I era. It's now become an I era. And again, shows no sign of receding in any kind of way. Here's another example. These are just examples of the world we live in. Facebook. 1 billion people now on Facebook, and counting, I think, still, worldwide on Facebook. How many people are not on Facebook? Wow. Well, you guys will soon be in the minority worldwide, actually. The whole thing about Facebook, for those of you who are not on Facebook, have you ever visited Facebook? You know what the concept is, at least? The concept is me. That's the whole concept on Facebook. My Facebook page and my friends, 90% of whom you don't even know probably. And then what we do on Facebook, what is the point of Facebook? We post pictures of ourselves. Here I am, in this place or another. Look at what I'm eating tonight, Here's my cat. And then what do people do? Like. Especially cats, man. You can't go wrong with cats. If things are, they don't like your dinner, and it's just one, you're just like, okay, cat. Yeah. And then if you really want to go for baby. My baby. Ah! I like that picture. I like that post. I like you. It's all really, I like you. Isn't it? They don't have a thumbs down on Facebook. That's not accidental. Don't like your cat. Not accidental at all. It's all about the thumbs up. It's all about the ego stroking. Isn't it? All about the ego stroking. So that's the sort of state that we're in. We're cashed up narcissists. Cashed up narcissist. And that's a cultural phenomenon. And we're all affected by it in one way or another. All of us. And I'm here to tell you that no authentic spiritual tradition in world history has ever taught that you'll be happier by being more selfish, that you'll be happier by being more self-centered, that you'll learn how to be happier by thinking of yourself all the time. No one has ever said that in world history until now. Here's a little quote from Christian theologian C.S. Lewis, for those of you who know. He said this back in 1952. Maybe he saw it coming. It's not like selfishness was just invented or something in the 1970s. Human beings have always been selfish. But rarely has there, if ever, has there been a culture that encourages it more than ours. You see? He said, men have differed as regards to what... let me try it again. Men have differed as regards to what people you ought to be unselfish to, whether it was only your own family, or your fellow countrymen, or everyone. But they have always agreed that you ought not to put yourself first. Selfishness has never been admired. And then that's close quote, and I would say, until now. Until now. Now we have entered the Eye Era, where selfishness is not only admired, it's encouraged. It's promoted at every turn. So this is the state that we're living in. We're living in under the sort of mass kind of delusion of narcissism. And it will not bring us happiness. In fact, just the opposite. So with the rise of affluence, with the rise of the me-ism, we also have some interesting other kinds of things that are rising. So I'll talk about them for a while, and then we can, talk together, question and answers. One of them is busyness, and the other is depression. And these can both be related to narcissism, can both be related to selfishness. Busyness means busyness for its own sake. Just keeping busy all the time. And it has many, many kind of like sort of expressions. Back in the 1960s, there was apparently a House committee in Washington that was formed to kind of evaluate the effects of automation, as different sort of industries were becoming more and more automated with machinery and all like that. And they brought in all kinds of experts who testified, saying, social scientists and other experts, testifying to say that, the predictable outcome of mass automation will be more and more free time, more and more leisure time for ordinary people. They were like predicting a 30, 25, hour work week. Not very far away. What's happened? Just the opposite. The average number of hours that ordinary people are working has increased, not decreased. It's now like something like 45, 50 hours a week, average, okay? With of course, an average, the average vacation for any, sort of full-time employee who's got a fairly decent job in the United States is what? 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks paid? Yeah, if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, you get 2 weeks paid. You know what it is in France? Is it 2 months? It's 6 weeks or 2 months, something like that, paid. You go to France this time of year, you go to Paris this time of year, everyone's off work. Nobody's working. Everyone's just, I don't know who even serves the cafe. It's the cafe. Some guy who's like getting his vacation, 2-month vacation over the Christmas holiday, I guess. You see, and that's just sort of standard issue in many, many European countries, and in Australia too. 6 weeks minimum of paid vacation. So, we're working our asses off. And that wasn't predicted. Just the opposite was predicted, that with all of this kind of money and automation and stuff like that, they thought that we would be able to have more leisure, not less. We are getting less leisure, as time goes on. And to some extent, that's, economically driven because we have to buy all the stuff all the time. We're not satisfied with the, 2-bedroom home, 3-bedroom home. We need a 5-bedroom home. So we take out huge mortgages and have to work our asses off to pay the mortgage bill every month. Or we say, well, I deserve a boat. Everyone else in this, seaport has a boat. I want a boat. So, we got a credit card, we, charge up a boat, or go to the bank and charge up a boat. Here's a little story also about the old days, kids. In the old days, there didn't used to be credit cards. I am old enough to remember when credit cards were introduced. I think the first credit card I remember was gasoline station credit cards, where you could just swipe the card instead of having to pay cash at the gas station. And then they invented American Express, and American Express, when it first came out, you had to pay the bill at the end of the month, right? I think that's still how they organize American Express. And then Visa, with the 20% interest rate on credit cards? What is it? You guys maybe know better than I. I'm the world's worst credit card holder. I have a credit card. You can't live without a credit card. I pay my bill every month. I never carry a balance. And they keep upping my payment. Well, how about 20,000, limit? If they up my limit, then maybe I won't be able to pay it somehow. No, I was in credit card debt. I was in $25,000 credit card debt at one point in my life, and I learned my lesson, man. I dug myself out, and that was hard to dig yourself out of that much, credit. But I did, and I'll never do it again. I'll never go there again. So anyway, before there was credit cards, if you wanted to buy something, a boat or a record, back. See. You see? Yeah, that's how old it was. That's how long ago it was. You buy a record, Herman and the Hermits got a new record out, and you really wanted to buy that record. Here's what you did. You went to the bank, and you went to the bank teller. There used to be bank tellers also, human beings that you went to, and you said, could you please check my balance on my savings account? Or I don't even remember checks were fairly recent too. Could you please check my bank account balance and see if I have any money? Because I want to buy a new record. And if they came back saying, sorry, your balance is, less than the record, guess what? You didn't buy the record. Okay? So now we've got this, this ability to satisfy our greed at will, thanks to 20%, interest rates on credit cards. Thanks to just, not actually having to have the money to pay for what it is that we want. We can still get it. You see, it's all kind of coming together here, isn't it? The picture. So, what was I talking about? I was going to say something about working, right? Oh, yeah. So that's why we have to work so much, is because we're all in debt, because of our greed. Really, if it comes right down to it, right? There should be no reason why an ordinary person making an ordinary sort of, kind of living should have to work more than 30, 35 hours a week. But of course, that requires what? Living within your means and living more simply, having a sort of a simpler lifestyle. So it's our own fault that we're working hard. But then there's this that we're working long hours. But then there's also this sort of cultural encouragement. Where nowadays, apparently, I don't have a job like this, thank God, but apparently there are people now who are basically on call all week long, all day long and all week long, thanks to the smartphones, right? And if the boss or your colleague or something like that, emails you or texts you or something like that, if it could be on Saturday, it could be on Sunday, it could be at 11 o'clock at night, you're sort of expected to take that email, to deal with that email, right? People are nodding their heads like they got jobs like this. I talked to and so So there's no holidays anymore. You see, we lost holidays. We lost any weekends, any real weekends. You know, if you're glued to your smartphone all weekend long, you're not having a holiday really. And as soon as it buzzes, you know, you're, right? As soon as it vibrates or, you know, whatever they do, you know, we're immediately drawn to it. And what's going on, you know? Right? So that's the kind of, that's la vida loca. That's a crazy life. A crazy life with no time off, with no recreation, with no real family life anymore, because everyone, you know, is like this all the time, you know, or like this. In like 50 or 100 years, maybe these digits will be grown like, you know, huge things, you know, because we're exercising them so much. And it's mostly busyness for its own sake, okay? Mostly busyness for its own sake. Here's a quote from an article that was written by somebody named Ed Smith and published in the New Statesman. He said, he writes that busy people, quote, are not rushing to arrive somewhere, still less to achieve anything. They are rushing because rushing is how they display how hard they work. Busyness for its own sake. Just as a little aside, I was just thinking that I had a chance to talk to young people in Melbourne. We had a group of about 15, I think, people from ages about 21 down to about 14. And, you know, we were talking about this. The younger you are, the more affected you are by this whole culture, by this culture of like constant communication, constant like plugged in all the time. And they were telling me that, you know, so I was saying like, well, you know, why don't you take a break, you know, why don't you relax once in a while, turn the thing off. Don't go on Facebook all the time. They've got Facebooks on their smartphones. They're going to Facebook all day long, in school, you know, whatever, all day long, visiting Facebook to see if anybody posted anything or if they liked my cat, you know. And so I learned from these kids, maybe this you know, resonates with some of you people, young people in here, that there's a whole kind of etiquette now that's developing where if you don't immediately text back when somebody texts you, like immediately, drop everything and, you know, exercise the thumbs, then they feel slighted. The person who doesn't get the text back immediately feels slighted. And then sometimes they stalk you, and they see like, what is she doing instead of texting me back? And they start looking on your Facebook page, and if you post something on your Facebook page before you answer the text, then that's a big diss. Is that right? Yeah? Okay, see? I didn't just make that stuff up. So that's a form of busyness too, of course, you know? The kind of, you know, it's not just the work that I'm talking about when I'm talking about this manic, you know, aspect of life, but also the manic nature of our communications nowadays. That we can't go for like, you know, even a few moments without checking our email, checking our phones, checking our Facebook pages, and constantly having to be in this kind of flow with other people. And almost all of it, of course, is completely, you know, not very serious. I was going to use another word, but, okay? Not very serious. And, you know, we know this, right? Because we hear each other's phone calls all the time now. Right? It's just on a train coming up from New York today, and, you know, everyone's on their cell phone. You can hear exactly what they're talking about. Everything. And mostly it's just, you know, hi, I'm on a train. Hi, you know. Yeah, I'm just passed through Connecticut. Yeah. Where are you? What are you doing? Oh, you're not on a train. Oh. You know, isn't it? It's just like, mostly like that. So this is driving us crazy, actually. We were at, I'll tell you another story. We were at the annual Asian Yoga Conference, held every year in Hong Kong. And thousands of people come, not just from Asia. It's the event in Asia, the yoga event in Asia. But people come from all over the world to yoga people, right? And Cindy and I were supposed to be doing this class where I said some stuff, and then Cindy was going to lead them in an asana practice. So as soon as I started saying my stuff, I knew that this was going to be a disaster, because they were just like, yeah. And so I aborted that pretty quickly and said, okay, well, maybe they'll like to do some asana. So, she led them in some very sort of meditative and simple asana practices. During their asanas, they're taking selfies. You know what a selfie is? With their cell phone, doing warrior pose, and then uploading it to Facebook. This downward facing dog, and the cell phone would be right there. And I'm not kidding. This was astounding to us. It's like, here we are in meditative yoga. It was just waiting for them to, okay, everyone go into meditation. So we knew a fair number of yoga teachers who were there, and we asked them, we couldn't believe it. Was it just us? Were we that bad that they just had to communicate on the Facebook all the time during the class? He said, no, it's regular occurrence in yoga studios. They have to confiscate the cell phones at the door, isn't it? Yeah, and even then they sneak them in. Hide them under the mats and stuff. You've not seen this, Lilia, in your studio? Oh, well, you're backward there in Brooklyn. This is the state of the art now in yoga. So this is indicative of where we are as a culture, as a world culture now, of course. That with all of this amazing technology, and there's no going back on this. Okay, you can't just become a Luddite and unplug everything and hope for the best in getting along in modern society. This is the society we live in, and the Google Glass is coming, and maybe after that implants. Not impossible in this very lifetime to have the opportunity to have the the availability of having an implant chip in your head, and you just go immediately to Google. It's have some whole file in there of your cats, and you go. Hands free. So the opposite of this, okay? The opposite of this is not to just throw away all the gadgets. Nobody's going to do that anyway. So there's no point in even suggesting it. It's just we got to deal with the life that we're leading. All right, with the world in which we're leading, we got to deal with it. But we have to do it sanely. We have to get some sanity back. We have to take some sanity back. Again, to just share with my own experience, when my dad brought in that television back in 1956 or something, 7, there was just no concept that there was anything wrong with just turning it on and watching it forever until the Indian came on. The pictures are moving. They're moving. Look, they're moving. And nobody had any, parents or children alike had no compulsion. What's that word I'm looking for? Compunction. Compunction? That doesn't sound right. They didn't care. If you just watched it forever until the TV ran out for the day. And then little by little, we learned, some of us, that you can't just like sit there and watch it all the time, you know? It drives you crazy after a while. You get headaches and, you know, not all of us have learned it. The average time of television watching per day is still going up, even with all the other things all the other screens down that we have to watch. 6 hours a day, average, which means some people got it on 10 hours, 12 hours a day. But, you know, many of us sort of realize that, you know, like, you know, once in a while you turn it off. You don't have to just watch it forever. But we haven't figured that out with our cell phones, with our internet access, with our Facebooking. We haven't figured out. It's too new in a way. We haven't figured out that it's, you know, you don't have to do this all the time. And then in fact, by doing this all the time, you're driving yourself crazy. You're stressed out all the time. You can't even go to a yoga class and, you know, and concentrate on your asanas, let alone meditation, without, you know, Facebooking and texting and constant communication. First thing that most people do nowadays, I don't know most, I don't have those stats, okay, so never mind. A lot of people, first thing they do, what? When they wake up in the morning, what? Check the email, check the phone. Anybody text me? Anybody sent me an email? First thing in the morning, and then all day long, over and over and over again. And this is slowly driving us mad. I mean, you know, maybe not so slowly. You know, we're jangled, we're stressed out, you know, and this is the reason why we're stressed out, is because, you know, it's constant. It's just never ending and constant. So we have no time to, you know, take a breath and just breathe once in a while. So before I move on to depression, the opposite of this kind of manic busyness is not paralysis. It's not just to try to stop, but it's to remain active and engaged, but in a calm and relaxed manner, in a sane manner, you know. And there's a couple of like little tips, you know, that I'll share with you. Not all of which I've been able to, you know, do myself. So, you know, hypocrisy warning here, okay? That could make for a much more relaxed kind of attitude about life. This one I'm pretty good at. Keep your mornings calm, at least in the morning. When you wake up, don't have the first thing that you do is to get online. You know? You can spend like everyone has at least an hour in the morning, you know? And if you wanted to, you know, get up a little earlier, you'd have more than an hour before you had to go to work or whatever, you know, whatever you do during the day. And you just spend some time quiet in the morning, not talking, not communicating, not reading, you know, text messages, and just like, you know, kind of wake up slowly and think about your day, and, you know, have at least an hour in the morning where you're relaxed and you don't see people and you don't turn anything on. And that would be a saner way to live, wouldn't you say? Yeah, and it's not that hard. You know, it's just a matter of like disciplining ourselves to do like, you know, what's actually would be really, really good for us. And then, you know, you can like look at your email and stress out some more, you know, all day long. But at least you got an hour of peace and quiet. And probably is a good idea also to like maybe turn it all off about an hour before you go to sleep. So that, you know, it's not the last thing that's on in your conscious mind as you're going off into dreamland is like what somebody said in a text message to you, right? Just common sense in a way, right? But we got to get in control of ourselves here. You know, we're out of control when it comes to this kind of thing. It's a way to start getting unbusy, to start living la vita sena, instead of la vita loca, to systematically become unbusier, not busier, but unbusier. And this has nothing to do with the amount of activity that you do during the course of the day. That's not what busyness is. Busyness is an attitude, you know, it's a mindset of always having to do something, you see? The compulsion to do something. And with that, automatically comes what we call stress. Stress, which is kind of like, you know, another form of a national disease, a national pandemic, is that we're all stressed out. You know, we're in our 9th year now of the summer retreat. Maybe in our 10th year we might institute a new policy. This is the wave of the future, okay? We can make a lot more money this way, I think. You can charge a lot more if you institute this as a policy. When the people come to governors, and check in on Tuesday for their 6-day retreat, you confiscate all their stuff. You say, give me the cell phone, give me the computer, give me the handout, give me all the gadgets, and we're going to charge you more for having to give it to, No, I guarantee this has probably already happened. This has been predicted for a long, long time. That, resorts, big boutique resorts will have just that. They'll mandate that kind of unplugging in order to relax finally, in order to get that relaxed. And we'll struggle with it and go, oh, all right, But, this is coming. It's that bad. It's gotten that bad that we'll pay people money to take our gadgets away from us for a little while so that we can get some peace and quiet in our lives. So, you could do this for free, actually, at home. So getting unbusy means among other things, doing that. It also means cutting back on non-essential or meaningless activity, which includes texting everybody all the time. But, most of us deny ourselves leisure time nowadays. Or in our leisure time, we fill it with stuff to do. You know who is really good at leisure, in the old days at least, maybe it's changed now, is teenagers. I remember when I was a teenager, and Saturday would come along, Friday night actually would come along, and you go, the weekend, I'm going to sleep in. And if you've had a teenager or have been a teenager, you know that they can do that. They can sleep in like nobody's business, 11, 12 o'clock in the morning minimum, sleeping in. So, I hunker down and get ready to sleep in on Saturday morning, and then, at about 8:30, my dad, knocks on the door and says, wake up. And I go, it's the weekend. It's Saturday. There's no school today. He says, no, but the chores. And he'd come with the list. Rake the lawn, mow the lawn, weed. I never understood weeding. Why did I have to do that? It's nature, come on. You want nature in your front lawn? Here it is. Sit there with a jackknife weeding on your hands and knees. Yeah, you'd have a whole list of stuff that I had to do, the weekend. So it gets internalized, of course. We do it, in some form or another. We do it to our kids too, don't we? We internalize the notion that you should keep busy all the time because busy means important, right? It's kind of gotten equated with living a meaningful life means being busy all the time. And that's just a false equation, total false equation. It kind of, wouldn't you say it kind of depends on what you're busy doing also? Weeding, or checking your email all the time, or working some dead-end job, just staying busy for your busyness sake. Go to your job and then punch out. Remember the concept of punching out? So they don't have those machines anymore. All right, kids, here's another thing. In the old days, when you went to a job, they had what they call a time card, and it was actual paper. And you would take this piece of paper and there was a clock and you would put it in, people remember, some people remember, anybody? And you would put the paper into the clock and it would punch it, boom, and would tell you what time you got to work. And then, and here's the important thing, at the end of the day, you would take that same piece of paper and put it in that same clock and punch out. And that was it. End of job. No cell phone coming home, with texting from the boss, and well, you got to do this now too, and none of that. All that's new, and it's driving us crazy. Get unbusy, and this is possible. Okay, we could start a movement. All right, let's start a movement. Governors Academy. August 13th, 2013. Is it the 13th? 12th. That's how forward-thinking this movement is. Of just like saying, I'm not going to work all the time, okay? You tell your boss, you hired me for this amount of hours, and that's how many hours I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you all my weekends and all my evenings and all my holidays. As we go on holidays, we take the work with us now too, of course, right? And just start your own little movement. If we all rise up in revolt, they can't make us do this. It's slavery. It's a kind of a slavery to make you work all the time. Crazy. Of course, we bought into it. That's why they can do it. We bought into it. So get a little more unbusy. Take more time off. Why not? Nobody's going to go to their grave going, gosh, I wish I had worked more in this life. I really regret, only working 10-hour days. I should have worked 12. Now it's come to the end. But I suspect that many people will regret that they didn't take more time off, more holidays, didn't travel more, didn't spend more time with their families. Many people, especially in our culture, in our times. So you can start living without regret now by taking, a little more time off. You don't have to quit your job or something like that to get some control of it, you see. To take some control over this, la vida loca. And, learn how to relax. It's a kind of a skill nowadays. You can learn how to meditate. Doesn't take long to learn how to meditate. Lots of different places to learn it. Summer retreat, you'll learn it if you stay on for the summer retreat. And learn how to meditate for 15 or 20 minutes every day. Or at least some kind of full body relaxation technique where you just sit down and you relax. Let the stress go. And again, we pay lots of money to people for professionals that make us relax. That's, I guess, what massage is, isn't it? Massage therapy is like, okay, I'll lie down there and I'm going to make you relax. Okay, here you go, You can save a lot of money by just relaxing at home. You don't need a massage therapist. You just go and relax. But it requires turning stuff off. It requires taking a break and just sit there and do nothing. And then you hear that and you go, whoa, what would I do if I were doing nothing? I wouldn't be busy. Well, that's what unbusy is. Unbusy means doing nothing more. That's what meditation is actually. What are you doing there? You're not making anything. You're not communicating. You're not posting pictures of cats on Facebook. You're just sitting there, communing with yourself. And that's an ancient skill, and it's probably going to become more and more important for ordinary people. You don't have to be like some big yogi or buy Lululemon apparel or anything like that to take a few minutes off. During the day and just relax. Maybe every hour or so, depending on the kind of job that you have, just look out the window. Just take a breath and look out the window, look at the sky. Little survival things like this is going to make all the difference in the world. Look at the open sky. Go out and take a breath of fresh air, Just once in a while, even just sit there at the desk and just take a few deep breaths, Just break the constant jangling of stress. So the little techniques like this can help a lot, yeah? The main thing is a change of attitude. The main thing, all of these are sort of Band-Aids, they're sort of, but the main thing is to have a change of heart about what's important in life. Is it important to be on Facebook 24 hours a day? Is it important to, text everybody? 150 texts sent and received on average now by young people per day. 150 on average. And people are going, whoa, how could that be? The younger you are, the more you're going, yeah, of course, yeah. I told those kids in Melbourne this, and there was no surprises in the room. 150 at least, probably. So this is not necessary. This is not good for us. Okay, take control of it. And then you change your attitude about it. You see, you're not that compulsion, you start getting a hold of that compulsion. It's irrational. It's an addiction. It's like crack. The texting and the Facebooking and the emailing, constant email is an addiction. Have you noticed? I have. Right? You can feel it. Well, no, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could get up without checking my email. Well, try it. Try it tomorrow morning. See, you know what? You'll survive, okay? Or your money back. And you're not going to like keel over in some kind of fatal heart attack because you didn't check your email. Probably just the opposite. Have a slightly better day. All right, that's enough of that. The next kind of sort of cultural disease that has arisen with affluence and narcissism is depression. What goes up must come down. The more we're obsessed with ourselves and our wants, our needs, our need for Facebook, thumbs up, our desires for what's going to make me happy, what things do I need to buy to make me happy, the more we get obsessed with ourselves, the higher the depression rate has gone. And that's statistically proven. If you accept the premise of the culture of narcissism, or even if you don't, if you accept the premise that we are more affluent than we used to be. Mm-hmm. With affluence, with the rise of affluence has risen in perfect harmony, in conjunction, the rise of depression. You think that there's a correlation there at all? So what causes depression? If you go on the internet, as I did, and research it a little bit, you get real confused. Because there's a whole bunch of potential causes for depression. Whole bunch. Well, you could lose your job. You could have somebody die. Somebody close to you could die. You could have bad genes. Depression genes, genetic, kind of history. All kinds of them. All kinds of reasons. So if there's all kinds of potential reasons, no one of them can be the cause of depression. If there are multiple possibilities, no one of them is the cause. They are all in India, in the logic texts of India, they make a distinction between cause and condition. The cause is like the acorn. You don't get an oak tree without an acorn, right? I mean, no way, right? You got to have the acorn. That's the cause. But you also don't get an oak tree from an acorn unless the conditions are there. Yeah? And the conditions are sunlight and good soil and water, moisture, etc. Right? So all of these things that they've tried to identify as the cause of depression can't really be the cause. They are the conditions. They are the conditions. I'll give you just to share with you my own story on this. I was hospitalized for depression, and it wasn't because anybody died, and it wasn't because of some of the other reasons that they give. It wasn't because I lost my job either. It was because I got my job. Maybe you have a job like this. No, I mean, here's the full story. I was an academic. I trained as an academic in a very kind of exotic field. And from the very start, my professors, even in college, let alone through graduate school, were telling me, you're probably not going to get a job in this field. There's very, very few openings in the field of ancient Indian religion, comparative religion, in the colleges and universities in this country. And so, I was prepared. I heard them. And then when it came time for me to go on the market, sure enough, there was, not that many jobs out there. And there were a lot of candidates for them. With, any one of these, like any good job, would get 100, 200, applications. All of whom were quite well qualified, brilliant, gone to good universities and all like that. And not only did I get a job that year, I got the best job. I didn't know how it happened, but I got a job in the Ivy League at Barnard College. And within about 4 months, I was in the psych ward in a hospital in Englewood, New Jersey, on suicide watch, 24-hour suicide watch. So was that the cause of my depression? So, I had a very, very good therapist, and I'm not dissing therapy. Therapy probably saved my life in a lot of ways. But I had a really good one. He was smarter than I was, which was helpful, and so we worked on it. Talk therapy, blah 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 blah, and he put me on antidepressants. This was back in the early 1980s. They didn't even know how those things worked back then. It was totally experimental, but they thought that maybe I'd try these and see what happens, and if you feel improvement, great. If not, we'll try something else. They were just mucking around with it. So I did the depression, and I did the antidepressants. I did the talk therapy. I did stuff that they told me to do. And I can't say that any one of them was the cause of relief from my depression. So I don't know what the cause of the depression really was. I mean, we investigated different possibilities, but could have been anything kind of. There was kind of a lot wrong. And I don't know what really cured it. And even today, if you do the research on it, they say the same thing. The researchers can't identify any one cause for depression, and they can't identify any one cure for it either. Studies have shown more or less that you have about the same rate of recovery from depression by doing any one of 4 things: going to talk therapy, taking antidepressants, exercising, and taking placebos. So it can't be the cause. It can't be the cause of the alleviation of depression, and we don't know what the cause of depression is. So if you're going to really go to the causes of things, one place to look is in the spiritual traditions. Spiritual traditions are interested in causes, actually, especially the Eastern ones, where this whole theory of karma. So I'll just tell you, and by the way, in case I didn't kind of spell this out, but depression is a pandemic right now. At least 1 out of every 10 Americans is certifiably depressed. The increase of the use of antidepressants is astronomical, especially among young people again. Something like 4,000% increase over the last couple of decades in antidepressant use among young people. So the World Health Organization has predicted by 2020 that depression will be the second greatest killer on Earth. Killer means through suicide and the other sort of negative effects that depression brings physically. Second, only to heart disease by 2020. So it's not just here, it's not just in America, it's spreading around the world. Why? Is there any correlation? What else is spreading around the world? Affluence. Yeah, money. Lifestyle, kind of lifestyle that we, have come to take for granted is now experienced by many, many people worldwide in many cultures. So it is a pandemic that's kind of directly correlatable to the rise of affluence, and I will also suggest also directly correlatable to the rise in narcissism. So I'll tell you what the texts say, the ancient Indian texts say on the causes of low self-esteem. They didn't even have a name for it. You just have to translate it as depression or low self-esteem. It means the original Sanskrit means, you don't like yourself or something like that. One, anger. Anger. And I think the therapeutics, establishments would agree with this, that in many, many cases, depression is just anger turned inwards. Because for some reason you're blocked or you feel repressed in expressing it, outwards, towards the object that you're really angry at. So you turn it around and it comes inside, and then you trash yourself, basically. So the cause of depression is anger. The more you're angry, the more likely you are to be depressed. So this goes against another kind of truism, actually, among at least some segments of the therapeutic society, therapeutic establishment, that it's positive thing to express your anger. Expressing your anger over and over and over again just increases the habit of getting angry. And if you're, buy into the whole karmic thing, increases your chances of depression. It's not a matter of repressing anger. No one's ever said that, I don't think, that'd be a good idea, to just repress it and pretend it's not there or something like that. But to deal with it in healthy ways, rather than to just let it go over and over and over again, running amok. So that's one. Here's another one. This one may be a little bit unexpected. A cause that's given for low self-esteem in the ancient texts, spiritual texts, is idle speech, gossiping, or just communicating without much meaning behind the communication. Hi, I'm on a train. Where are you? For example, over and over and over again. You start to think about your own words as meaningless. You think of your own words as meaningless or, not important, not powerful. And then that comes back at you as thinking of yourself as meaningless. Thinking about yourself as a trash talker. You're a trash talker by blah, 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 and then you think about yourself as trash because you're a trash talker. And so I suggest that that's an immediate correlation that we can make with our present society and the rise of depression. Then there's this one, pride and arrogance as a cause for depression. And the more self-centered we are as individuals and as a culture, it is not surprising that the depression rate goes up. What goes up must come down. That's another kind of karmic principle. The more we inflate our egos, the more we get more and more self-absorbed, the more we are going to fall as individuals and as a trend in society. The more incidents of depression, the more it becomes a pandemic. So what's the cure? What's la vita sana here? To be less self-centered, to be less narcissistic, to be more interested in other people, you see, to be more interested in how you can help others instead of always thinking about what's in it for me, what about me, you see. This is a healthy way to live, and this is the way that our spiritual traditions have taught us to live for millennia. For millennia. They've over and over again, not just one, you see. You can find this advice in every spiritual tradition. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, Shintoism, Confucianism, they all have taught that you will be happier if you worry less about yourself and more about others. You see, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Do not do unto others as you would not have them. Think about other people. And think about your effects on them, you see. Start living a more altruistic life, and that will result in a happier life, as opposed to the current equation, which is to be more and more self-centered, more and more narcissistic, which is resulting in more and more low self-esteem and depression. Direct correlation, I think. So la vida sana. La vida sana. How to live a saner life instead of la vida loca. And it means, kind of fighting the power a little bit. Fighting the power of society, fighting the power of the advertisers, fighting the power of a culture, fighting our own power, the power inside of us, the power that's trying to, encourage us to do the very things that now, and at some level I think we all know, are not good for us, are not healthy, not the way to live a good life. That's enough. So if there are questions, a question per person. And by the way, some people also like to make statements. Get your own auditorium. And then you can make as many statements as you want. So if there are any questions.
We've got our little handmade, homemade
Yeah.
microphone-y things.
So we'll do that
Yeah,
like
give it to you.
Oprah Winfrey thing. Raise your hand if you have a question. There's one over here, Rick. Yeah. Okay, you only have 5 seconds. No. Stress.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ivan, and Lama Marut, thank you for being here. I have a question. You were talking about breathing and greeting.
Sorry?
Breathing
Breathing?
and greeting.
Breathing and greed?
Yes, what is the relation that you can make between both of them?
I didn't know that I was making a relationship between breathing and greed. Explain more what you mean.
Well, breathing is something that you mentioned a few times.
Yeah. To take a deep breath, you mean like to breathe?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Are you able to make any relation between both of them? Because the world is getting greedy. And greedy.
Greasy? Greedy. Yeah, I got that. So the question is whether like taking a deep breath, relaxing, using your breath to relax would help you with the greed? Would help people with greed? Is that the question?
It's not a, well, is it a connection there? If you see people who breathe
Yeah.
really bad, you make a connection between being greedy.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole breathing thing is, deep breathing and concentrated breathing is a relaxation technique. So it's kind of directly addressing the stress. But I think, to try to answer your question, it can also be a very, very important method for buying some time between the time that a mental affliction like greed or anger or something like that arises and the time you act on it. So, we tell our kids, right, go take a little time out, right? And take a deep breath before you act on whatever impulse. And that's in general, a way to start getting control of our lives and stop living crazy. Is to stop and say, well, okay, that iPad sure looks good. You see a billboard or something like that. But then, to take a breath and to say, do I need a new iPad? Do I need an iPad at all? And to kind of investigate it. Here's another way to do it. You can review the last time you bought an iPad or a pair of shoes or whatever it is. And the trajectory on the new shoes is going to be exactly like the trajectory of the old shoes. The new shoes, not the formerly shoes that were new that are now old. See, so what's it like? You buy the shoes, you take them home. Oh, I've got my blue shoes now. I got blue. I used to just have red and black and white. Now I got blue, and you get this little spike of pleasure for a while. And then within a couple of weeks, max, right? It's like, they don't fit that well, and that shade's just not very, kind of flattering to my eyes, with my eyes. And then they become like kind of the old shoes pretty quick, don't they? And every new pair of shoes is going to have exactly that same trajectory. Same with everything. The car, the car, it's got, GPS that talks to me. Well, pretty soon, GPS that talks to you is just going to get on your nerves, and you'll want one with an English accent, and you can't get one. It's just you get dissatisfied. Well, the spike is coming, but then it wears out, and that's just important to know in life. It's just observing yourself. Just pay attention. There's nothing wrong with buying a new car or having a new pair of shoes or something like that, but don't to have the expectations that we overlay on these purchases is foolish. You know, okay, it's nice to have a new pair of shoes once in a while, but they're not going to, like, you know, solve your, you know, desire for shoes. You see what I mean? You're not going to really get at the root here. No, every time we do this, I've been thinking about this in terms of a kind of an analogy. It's like when you get a mosquito bite. Are any mosquitoes in Massachusetts? So maybe you've experienced having a mosquito bite. And then when you get a mosquito bite, well, you know, it itches. It itches. So, you know, we get itches. We're encouraged to get itches. The whole economy is, you know, is like big mosquito bites. You know, constantly bringing up new itches. Oh, I need this, I need this, I want this, I want this. So what do we do when we have a mosquito bite and it itches? Yeah, we scratch it. And, you know, we buy the shoes, we buy the iPad, we buy the new car, we buy the bigger house, we buy the boat, you know. But what happens when you scratch a mosquito bite? It comes back. The itch comes back, often even more strongly, right? Strongly. So the interesting thing, though, is that every time we scratch, every time we, you know, buy the shoes or go on that holiday that we've always wanted to go on, you know, whatever it is, go to that restaurant we always wanted to go to. Every time we scratch, we're hoping that it'll be the last scratch. We're hoping it won't itch anymore. That's the whole point. That's the whole mechanism of the scratching. The itch is there, I scratch it, and I hope there won't be any more itches. Right? But you can't stop itchiness through scratching. You stop itchiness through calamine lotion. Did I lose you at all in the metaphor here? Okay, so I'll give you for no extra charge tonight, you'll get a genuine mantra. You know what a mantra is? Is sacred words of power. This is the calamine lotion mantra. Say Om. Doesn't that sound like a mantra? That's the Sanskrit part. That means here comes a mantra. Say I have See, it's just like an old rock star who everyone knows all the words to the songs. You don't even have to sing it anymore. Just like, Om. Om means here comes a mantra. I have enough means exactly what it says. Ahum means that's the end of the mantra. I have enough. I have enough shoes. I have enough iPads. I have enough restaurant experiences. I have enough holidays. I have enough partners. You know, I have enough. I have enough friends. I have enough, bumps on the ladder in the job. I have enough respect. I have enough fame. I have enough. And when you believe that, then the calamine lotion will stop the itching, and not until. That's the contentment mantra. And that's a real hard mantra for us. We especially when we're like surfing the internet or watching television and constantly being bombarded with the opposite mantra. No, you don't have enough. No, it's not sufficient. No, you should have more. You should have different. It should be, right? Over. That's consumerism. And so then you buy some like really expensive prayer beads. Probably $150 at least to buy those prayer beads. I don't have enough prayer beads, Ahum. And then you like start chanting. I have enough. I have enough. I have enough. I have enough. Fighting the power. That's fighting the power. So that's one question I've taken so far. Thank you. I know you didn't ask that question. Most of that. Are there any other questions? In the back there, Rick or Bob?
Yes, it seems like the most of the conversation in the talk was about how we're the I generation.
Yeah.
Or the I for decades.
Eye Era.
Eye Era, thank you. And that it's all about
Copyrighted.
No problem, it's all yours. And how, everybody's self-centered, but it seemed like the solution to that was to unplug and be with yourself.
Yeah, that's.
How is that not self-centered?
How is that not self-centered?
Yeah, to commune with yourself.
Yeah. This good old boy came up from Tennessee just to ask me that question.
Take your time.
Thanks. You were a lot nicer when your beard was shorter, I tell you what. All right, look, it's like this, I think. There's good and bad ways to be self-centered, if you want to use that term. The bad way is to be self-centered in the sense of just all the time wanting to boost your ego, prop your ego up, expand it, aggrandize it, make it bigger, especially bigger than other people's. Bigger me, bigger somebody than other somebodies. But it's important to take care of yourself. And that's a certain kind of self-centeredness, I guess. But of course, that's the whole sort of spiritual, kind of trajectory, isn't it? The career is to learn how to be good, how to be happy, how to love yourself enough to be happy, which means that you need to take some time off once in a while from the constant bombardment of information and communication and all like that, and go. And that's the purpose of meditation. That's the purpose of a retreat, like we're going to do, this week, is to take some breathing room, and get some breathing room, and think okay, well, is the kind of life I'm leading really healthy, for me as a person? Is it making me a better person for the people around me? And that's a healthy form of self-centeredness, I guess, if you want to call it that. Okay.
I'd like to know where you find the line between helping people and also the self-care. No one wants to be selfish, but if I'm always going out and helping and thinking and doing, you lose yourself? How do you find that line?
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes, isn't it? Especially, for people who have, for example, people who are in the the caring professions, in nursing or something like that, or even parents, who have young children who constantly need attention, and it can be very tiring. It can be very wearing. So you do have to protect yourself. Sort of like I was just telling Ryan. And only you know where that line is. You know what I mean? Only you know where it's no longer actually helping others. Because the resentment's there, the anger's there, the bitterness is there. They're like, it's no longer voluntary. In other words, it's no longer, there's no joy in it. And when that happens, then it's totally counterproductive. It's not really helping others anywhere after that. It's just a job. It's just a task, a toiling. So you got to be careful. Just because you're in the business of helping other people, or just because you're a parent, or just because you've got other people that depend on you or something like that, doesn't mean that you're always helping them. If the attitude is bad, if the attitude's filled with this kind of bitterness and about what you have to do, well, then it's not a beneficial action really anymore. See what I mean? So there's no absolute line, that everyone can follow. You got to sort of find it in your own psyche. But it's very important to know where that line is, and to then say, okay, look, I need some downtime. I need some downtime. And that's, and that's kind of what I was talking about in the talk, is we all need some downtime. We need some downtime, like, kind of inserted regularly into our lives before it gets to that kind of breaking point where just because we're so busy and, doing so many things that we just, no longer do it with any kind of good heart anymore. So in the spiritual traditions, especially in the West, as you know, there's built into the system is the Sabbath. If it was good enough for God, it's probably good enough for us. God, created the world in 6 days, and then he chilled. Took a day off. So how many people are taking a day off regularly? And the Orthodox Jews have got it totally right. I don't know if you know their version of Shabbat is that they don't even turn the lights on. I can't turn the lights on. I've got Shabbat. I'm resting. Somebody else turned the damn lights on. No, it's just a total rest. And that's a very, very good practice. And then, maybe every month or so, take the whole weekend off. Once a month, 1 weekend out of 4, just, chill, just relax. This is part of living a sane life, is relaxing. It's not, and we hear this nowadays and we think somehow that's a sin to relax. You read the Bible. God relaxed. You can take it to your employer and say, "Look, it's right here in Genesis." God didn't have to work 7 days a week. Why should I? And then once a year, take a proper holiday, and don't bring your cell phones, and don't bring your, emails, and don't bring your work into your holidays. It's just crazy. Have a proper holiday, 2 weeks, just, enjoying yourself. This is just a good way to live, and it makes living a good life the rest of the time possible, because you're restored. If you never restore yourself, then you little by little you frazzle out, and part of what that means to frazzle out is that you stop thinking about other people. You see, you just think about, like me, all the time, and how nervous I am, and how stressed out I am, and how little time I have. You see, it's just the wagon starts circling around the me. So it's a very, very important spiritual practice to learn how to relax. Of course, not all the time. But there are very few slackers left, have you noticed? Where did all the slackers go? Who just don't do anything, they just hang around at cafes. Everyone's working. You go to the cafe and they're all like, right? The Starbucks have become like offices, isn't it? Yeah. There's no relaxation anywhere anymore. All right, one more question maybe, huh? Maybe I answered them all.
I read the Diamond Cutter, and I've been listening, which I really enjoyed and liked in terms of business. And I've been listening to Geisha Michael Roach, some of his talks in Singapore, etc., etc. And they seem totally diametrical and very opposed to what you've just been saying, I have enough. Where he's saying is, you can all have $1 million, you can all have $100 million, you deserve a good car, you deserve the right partner, which is very like The Secret, I think, what I'm hearing, which is very different from the book, his talks. It seems to be very opposed to the Buddhist principles that are in the book. And the way he's presenting it around the world.
What's the question?
The question is, which is the right one? I mean, can we have it all? Or?
No, of course I can't have it all. I mean, what does it mean to have it all anyway? You already have it all. What does it mean to have it all? What do you mean?
No, it's just that it seems opposite what he's saying in the book to what he's saying on stage.
To what he's saying on stage? We should ask him a question then, maybe. Do you have a question for me?
Do you have any thoughts on that? That's my question to you. I thought he was your guru.
He was one of my teachers. You know, I've had many teachers actually. He was one of my teachers, and I learned a great deal from him. But you know, there are lots of different. We all sort of work for the same company, but there are lots of different offices. There are lots of different branches, and you know, there are different kinds of presentations that are helpful to different kinds of people. And I hope my presentation was helpful to you. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But if it wasn't, then maybe somebody else's presentation will be helpful to you. Okay?
Well, this presentation is helpful to be of whom I have enough.
Yeah.
It's more the Buddhist principle that I have been following. And
Well, Buddhism is a big topic, you know, it's a big rubric. There's lots of different kinds of Buddhism, just like Christianity, there's lots of different kinds of presentations of Christianity. When I grew up in the Christian tradition, I used to watch Reverend Ike. Anybody heard about Reverend Ike? Maybe, yeah, you remember it? And he would come out and he was wearing like the Brooks Brothers suit and diamonds on all his hands, and he'd just come out from his limousine, and it was all like, you know, prosperity. Look at me. God has been good to me, and God can be good to you too. You know. Just send $29.95 and I'll get you the prayer. He had some prayer package that he'd send out to people, and they would pray for the prosperity that Reverend Ike had. So there's like, you know, and then you know, there's other presentations of Christianity too, isn't there? There's lots of different presentations of any kind of religious tradition, and you find the one that works for you. If you know, the kind of people that Reverend Ike, I think, was addressing were people who were pretty desperate for any kind of hope that they were going to have any kind of prosperity, and he gave them some hope. He gave them something to do, and that's helpful. You know, that was helpful to some extent, right? To those people, and then other kind of people like would see that and say, well, that's just crass materialism or something like that. Those are people who have money, generally. People who, you know, who have enough money to be able to criticize other people for crass materialism. So there's lots of different facets to the diamond. So which one's useful to you?
yeah, just seemed a bit contradictory.
There's lots of different. Sometimes it is seemingly contradictory. Sometimes one thing helps one thing, and actually a good teacher, you know, will often contradict themselves, depending on the audience, depending on the person that they're talking to, and also depending on what they've learned over time. You know, I didn't always teach I have enough either. You learn stuff, and you grow. That's what learning is. You're growing and learning. If you just like say, well, there's only one right thing, and that's the end, you know, forever. That's, you know, kind of fundamentalism. That kind of closed-minded fundamentalism precludes growth, precludes learning. So contradiction can be a part of that. What you say at one time, you may no longer believe it, and so you say something else. Or in the kind of pedagogical, the teaching kind of enterprise, you teach somebody who's on one rung of the ladder something, and then when they get to another rung of the ladder, you teach them something else, and often that can be quite different, even contradictory. So, no worries. Did I say last question, or is there one more really burning question? Anyone got a burning one? There's a burning one.
So I'm a woman of a certain age.
Me too.
And people around me that are my cohort are dropping.
Say it again, sorry.
People that
Yeah.
are my age that
Yes.
are around me are
Yes.
dropping.
Yes.
And I heard once that the true purpose of any religion is to give a meaning to life that death cannot end. And now I'm obsessing about what sort of legacy can I leave behind? And is that like a good thing, or is that just more me doing Facebook a la 1950? You know what I mean? Like, is trying to leave a legacy. These are the things I have learned in my life, sort of a legacy. Like, is that fallacious? Is it a waste of time? Or is that, because I'm spending a lot of time doing that, putting together what I want to leave behind.
To whom?
Yeah, that's a real good question, because my kid won't even look at my stuff, so, yeah.
Well, you know, things change. Change is the nature of life, and that occurs in our own lives, of course. We're constantly changing. We're born, we live for a while, and then we die. And the whole universe is like that. It's changing all the time. So the legacy I think that we can hope to leave behind is the positive effects that we have had on other people's lives, and not necessarily and not necessarily by name, you know, like it's not necessary that they remember you, you know, but their pool ball, you know, like in pool, you know, their pool ball was shifted a little bit by interaction with you, in a positive way rather than a negative way. That, you know, of course, we leave negative legacies behind too, I guess. But really, the problem with that, I mean, the potential problem, I'm not saying it's your problem, but the potential problem of that whole sort of modality of thinking is that they'll never forget me. You know, I'll be memorialized, you know, for all eternity or something like that, and that's just kind of megalomania, you know, and unrealistic. So maybe depersonalize the whole idea of legacy. How's that? Depersonalize it. Yep. All right, thanks for coming tonight. So I'll stay up here and sign books for people who would like to have me autograph. Yeah, you know, I got to figure out a better system here. Yeah, maybe we can like maybe I can stop being mic'd up too. Hey, Jack. How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Can you tell people
You know how to
which
do
way
this?
you want them, Lama?
Yeah, they're going to come right up those stairs.
Yeah, and
down
maybe
there.
we could bring a chair. Is there a chair that we could put up here so that they're not like standing in front of me the whole time?
What's... Okay. If you can just wait here for 1 second.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, just so we get the conversations offline. Yeah, come on up here and you can wait and watch your steps.